I don't think I've ever seen an entire community react this way to a DLC character. This might be the most disappointing DLC in fighting game history, or at least recent memory.
No! No! You're tripping! Oh no!
And it's for a returning character. I need to emphasize that part, because new characters always have mixed reception, but usually returning characters are liked.
It's a Fahkum Ram. I don't want what the fuck is it? I don't. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Brother, kill your brother. Who cares, bro?
And yet, nobody in Tekken 8 is happy about this reveal.
It's a Fakum Rom. Oh shit, it is Fakum Rom.
Well, Main Man Sweet got a bit excited, but I think that's because he predicted it and was just happy to be right.
I feel like I sort of called this. I said there was a good chance he would return this season.
But okay, let's get into it. Why are fans so disappointed and upset? As many of you watching already know, Tekken 8 is having a rough time lately. Players were done dirty by the developers, and now they're snipers, alright? They have X-ray vision and can see through everything. Fans can now spot the tiniest details, which is why this DLC reveal has everyone angry. Most of my viewers are Mortal Kombat fans, so let me explain. This is Fakum Rom, and we gotta start from the beginning to give better context to this situation. Fakum Rom first appeared in Tekken 7, also as a DLC character, and it was towards the end of Tekken 7 too. In other words, he was one of the last characters to be added. At first, he was overpowered in many ways and had to be nerfed, but thankfully he was not Leroy level, or at least I don't think he was. But still, his gameplay was busted and left a sour taste in many players' mouth. So gameplay wise, he was already upsetting people, and then you have his appearance. And yeah, this design is trying way too hard. This man is the definition of over-design. He's got tattoos everywhere and scars everywhere. He's clearly juicing on them steroids, and overall he's just unappealing visually to many players. From a design standpoint, Fakum Rom is a real turnoff to many players. Or to phrase it in a simpler way, many players did not like this character.
Does Fuck Your Mom have fans? Is there a bunch of Fuck Your Mom fans? I'm just curious if Fakum Rom has like a really big fan base.
Fakum Rom never had a huge fan base or anything like that. He's no Eliza, is what I'm saying. You know, that character in my intro, she needs to come back. But I digress. It was pretty clear to everybody that Fakum Rom would stay locked away in Tekken 7, right? Because he's just not hype enough to warrant a return, right? There's plenty of other characters that people want way more than this guy, so Namco's not gonna bring him back, right?
No! You're tripping!
Except they did. He came back somehow, and for some reason, Fakum Rom returned, despite not being popular at all. Players were demanding Bruce, who's also a Muay Thai fighter and loved by many fans with an actual history in the game, and he's been gone for several games too. The demand was there, so yeah, Bandai could have just brought him back, but instead, they chose Fakum Rom. And remember how earlier I said that Tekken fans have X-ray vision now? They're snipers and can spot the tiniest details? That was foreshadowing. Tekken fans are way more observant now than they ever have been, and they realized pretty quickly why Fakum Rom is here instead of someone else. This man on screen is a reused asset, or at least many parts of him are reused from Tekken 7. That's why Bandai copied him over to Tekken 8 instead of Bruce or another fan favorite character.
Fahkumram, and it's the same drop from the sky. It's the same drop from the sky. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. The same drop from the sky. Bro, I've lost my mind, bro. They couldn't even switch up the trainer.
Put simply, Fakum Rom was the cheaper option. It's way more affordable to take someone from Tekken 7 whose assets are all fresh and put them in Tekken 8, rather than make a character from scratch who's been gone for several games and don't have access to their assets, or the assets are so old that they wouldn't look good in Tekken 8 anyway, even if you copied them over. You can't just grab Bruce from Tekken Tag 2 and port him over to Tekken 8. It's not gonna work that well. But for Fakum Rom, it's much easier because he was just in Tekken 7. Like mentioned earlier, he was one of the last DLC characters for that game, so reusing his assets is much easier. And many players called this out early on. Tekken 8 is reusing tons of assets from Tekken 7, but early on not many people wanted to believe them. However, lately that claim is getting a lot easier to understand and believe. Tekken 8 really is starting to look like Tekken 7 with a graphics update and some new guest characters. Although even some of the new characters are still reusing assets from Tekken 7, like animations for example. Not completely, some animations animations are new, but characters like Reina, for example, are reusing animations from Tekken 7 characters. And I think Azucena is doing the same thing as well. She has some animations borrowed over from Tekken 7. Oh, and also, I need to mention this for anyone not aware, nearly every DLC character in Tekken 8 is from Tekken 7. In fact, many of them are Tekken 7 DLC characters. That's right, we're talking repeat DLC for several characters, and you know fighting game players hate that. Even if just 1 or 2 characters are repeat DLC from the previous game, there's outrage online. So with Tekken 8 right now, it's about to be a full riot, because there's several repeat DLC characters. And to make matters even worse, there's rumors online that the next character will be Marduk, who was also in Tekken 7 and also a DLC character in Tekken 7. So in other words, he'd be another repeat DLC character. It's starting to look like Namco is gonna keep recycling DLC characters from Tekken 7 and have you pay for them again in Tekken 8, which to me definitely does not sound like a good idea. Namco, if you add even one more DLC character to this game who was in Tekken 7, oh boy, it's not gonna be good. I think the game's gonna be cooked if you do that. And I don't want that because I'm actually still playing Tekken 8. I know I'm not a boycotter, I'm sorry. I'm actually enjoying Tekken 8 right now because I finally have free time to play it. And also they added Anna, who I just remembered was DLC in Tekken 7 as well, but she's one of my favorite characters and I'm enjoying her new gameplay a lot. So I personally don't want Tekken 8 to fail. I want it to get better, not just for me, but for everyone else who's already invested money and time into this game. I want it to get better, which is why I'm praying, man. My fingers are crossed that the next DLC character is good and not a reused Tekken 7 DLC. Even if it's Armor King, I think people would get angry. Me personally, I might be okay with Armor King, but only because Namco already gave me Season 2 for free. So yeah, I'm not as invested as other people, but for everyone else, they put money on this DLC, right? Money down on the table. And the Namco just keeps giving them more Tekken 7 characters, and a lot of the time Tekken 7 DLC characters, repeat DLC, it keeps happening. So yeah, that's the Fakum Rom situation, possibly the most disappointing DLC in recent memory, and possibly fighting game history, at least for a returning character. Like mentioned earlier, new characters can sometimes have mixed reception, but typically the returning characters are universally liked, or at least mostly liked. But that's not true for Fakum Rom. I'm sure some tiny group of people is happy for him, but for the most part, this was a big disappointment.
I've heard terrible things about this character. I have heard terrible things about this character. I have heard... Oh...
However, as many of you watching already know, I love making these videos interactive, so let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. How do you feel about this entire situation? Are you actually happy that Fakum Rom is in the game? Were you looking forward to him? Or are you disappointed? And how do you feel about this whole situation in general? How Namco Bandai keeps adding characters from Tekken 7 as DLC with the exception of guest characters, and many times the returning characters are DLC from Tekken 7, so repeat DLC in other words. How do you feel about that whole debacle? I find it pretty crazy. But maybe out there somewhere, fingers crossed, Namco is paying attention to this reception and realizing, whoa, we should stop doing this. Now, Season 2 might already be cooked, because those characters are lined up and already being made. But Tekken 7 had a Season 3, and it's likely Tekken 8 will as well, and now hopefully Namco knows not to repeat these Tekken 7 characters anymore. Give us Bruce, give us Alex, give us Angel, maybe Unknown. I think Christy could be cool if you make her gameplay different enough from Eddie. That would be a great addition. There's honestly a pretty good chunk of characters to add for Tekken 8 that were not in Tekken 7, and that's what I think that Namco Bandai should do. Stop using the Tekken 7 characters, because you're making Tekken 8 feel a lot like Tekken 7, and that's not good because tons of players are already returning to Tekken 7 because they don't like the heat system and other changes to Tekken 8, and adding more Tekken 7 characters is not going to bring them back. So instead, you should add fan favorite characters that have been gone for a bit, or possibly some brand new characters. Guests are fine too, but not exactly Tekken friendly characters, you know? In other words, I think Tekken players would prefer a new character in the style of Tekken instead of guest characters who tend to play very differently than typical Tekken characters do, if that makes sense. But hey, at least the new Pac-Man stage looks cool. To end things on a positive note, it's really weird and interesting, but I like it because I feel like Tekken works with the wackiness every now and then. It's kind of fun if done sparingly. So overall, I think the Pac-Man stage is neat and it's included with the Battle Pass, unlike the previous stage that you had to pay extra for, and that made everybody angry. So like mentioned earlier, I do think Namco is learning slowly but surely. And that's all thanks to the fans and the community of Tekken 8 that are being very vocal and letting Namco know what they want. You guys keep doing that and maybe Tekken 8 can be saved if everyone works together. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like while you're down there as well, because every single like helps this channel out a ton. And finally, finish that combo by subscribing and ringing that bell so you never miss any future videos. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.